story never ends. Let's celebrate, remember a year in the life of Frank DiLella.
He's the name behind Rent, creator, composer, and lyricist Jonathan Larson. And his name not only lives on through the beloved musical, but in the form of a grant presented by the American Theater Wing, with the support from the Larson family. Two of the recipients of the 2023 class are Larry Owens and Julian Hornick.
It is the biggest honor of my life. I grew up watching the Tony Awards. I've been privileged to work with Larson-winning composers. A Strange Loop was honored a few years ago. And so to be in the position of the writer receiving it, it is just mind-blowing.
It's pretty hard to wrap my mind around. I mean, I grew up just like your quintessential theater nerd and just revered not just Jonathan Larson, but so many of these people who have gotten this grant before. I mean, Pasek and Paul and Shayna Taub and Tom Kitt. Like, these are the people I grew up like praying to. So to be even like a little associated with them is great. I mean, even to be associated with Larry at this point, like I'm like, oh my God, like that's crazy.
Larson never got to see the success of his masterwork, unexpectedly dying the night before first previews of Rent at New York Theater Workshop. After Larson's untimely death, his family wanted to do something to carry his legacy forward.
His family, who's represented by Julie Larson most often, she talks about just being by his side as he was trying to break into the industry and hearing how many times he got no's and rejections. And she thought, wouldn't it be great if we created a legacy where we could say yes to artists? So it started in 1997 with grants to composers and lyricists, unrestricted. Now, 27 years later, there have been over 180 artists, almost $1 million distributed. And there are so many Tony nominations, Oscars, Obies, you name it, that comes out of it.
Enough! Upstairs, now!
Shoshana Bean, who is currently starring in the Alicia Keys Broadway musical Hell's Kitchen, was on the selection committee for this year's grants.
I know what it feels like to be writing new things and wanting to share them and screaming into the void sometimes. Any shine, any attention, any way to highlight people that are making new things, I just think is so vitally important. If we don't foster that, we don't have new stuff, we don't have new shows.
No one in Memphis has better senses than I.
The award this year was for $12,500. It's a cash prize. You know, as artists, especially theater artists, money is always a good thing, right? What does that mean to you?
The money empowers the production. It allows me to get those important things that no one thinks about when you're making a musical. Sheet music, arrangements, casting directors, a lot of really, really important elements that some people don't know about or take for granted. So this award does so much to sort of mitigate and level out some of the privilege that one needs to even think about having a musical produced.
Come be everything around me.
And not be worried about coming in the red because you have support. But it's also, you know, the sort of legitimizing practical costs of being like, oh, like I'm doing this for real. This is a career.
You want to break up?
You want to break up?
What?
What?
Jacob, you said you wanted to break up.
Are you sure you didn't say it first?
Larry, we know you mainly as an actor, theater actor, TV actor. This is kind of a new chapter for you.
It's an old chapter. Theater is my first love. It's how audiences at large have been introduced to me, and that's why this award is so important to me. It legitimizes those ambitions that people don't know about, and it allows me to, when I go out to the market and say, these are my shows, I have the backing of the wing. I have the backing of the legacy of Jonathan Larson, and his work and his life represents everything I want inside of my work.
I'll be there and I'll cover you.
The lasting legacy still felt today in this next cohort of changemakers.
I just didn't know that musicals could sound like that, and I think that was formative, but also as like a little nascent gay boy who didn't really know that yet, but you know, it's always there. I think there was something really profound about being exposed to a show with really earnest gay love songs sewn through it that young, to be like, this is, like, I grew up thinking that's just how theater works. And I think that was pretty crucial for me.
He changed what the expectations of people had of a musical. He took us to a different place. And that's what this program tries to replicate, is finding the next Jonathan Larsons, the next Rents that are gonna push the art form forward, push audiences forward, connect with the new generation. And that's so, so important.
Receiving the Jonathan Larson Grant is life-changing.
Thank you for watching our YouTube channel. For more stories in your communities, click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV for the latest information, balanced coverage, weather updates every 10 minutes, and more. We'll see you then.